All right, whoops, here we are. You need your crochet hook, a pair of scissors, your yarn needles, and your stitch marker. And here is our pattern. I'm going to just look at it on this phone. It is this simple, cozy bucket hat. And this is on yarnspirations.com. I will have the link for that in the description below. And we are going to follow this starting at the very beginning, okay? So the first part we're going to do is we're going to do a magic loop. You want to do the loop around your fingers, the X on this side. I also have a video for the magic loop if you are still trying to learn that. Now, the first thing it says is to chain 1 and do 7 single crochets into the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now what I'm going to do is, first round, it does not say to pull it, doesn't say anything else. So what you do is you pull your ring closed, and then you want to loop into this first stitch that you did and do a slip stitch through that, okay? That way you're pulled shut. Now it says second round is 2 singles in each stitch. So we're not going to do a chain here. We're just going to go right in here and start doing 2 singles. Oh, this is, no. Bloop. Okay, since we're not doing a chain here to mark your round, you will want to put your stitch marker in here. I don't normally use stitch markers, but this has you use it because you're not marking your round with a single crochet and then stopping each one. You're going to do a solid spiral. So you really need that stitch marker in this pattern, and you can use a piece of colorful yarn that contrasts your yarn that you're using, okay? So we're going to do 2 stitches, 2 single crochets right here in this first stitch, and 2 singles all the way around back to your stitch marker. Now, I've been wanting to make a bucket hat for quite some time now, but I wanted it to be tight stitches, not my usual double crochet, so I just haven't done it. And now I'm going to get the chance to do it. I'm excited for it, actually. We're just going to keep doing 2 singles in every stitch, all the way around. Now I'm using a G needle, which is a 4.25, yes. And they call for an I, but I wanted to use a smaller needle than what it asked for because I really want some tight stitches on this hat. I'm going to have to move this phone a little bit so I don't bump it. The third round is 2 singles in the next crochet and 1 single in the next. So you do 2, 1, 2, 1. See, there's my stitch marker. So I guess I'll go in this one right here. I'll do 2 in that one that the stitch marker is actually in. Okay. Now I'm going to move the stitch marker, and I'm on round 3. Oops. So now we're going to do 2 in the first stitch. Oops, I don't want to double. 2 singles in the first stitch and then 1 single. Okay, we're going to repeat that all the way around. 2 in this one and then 1 in this one. 2 in this one and then 1. All the way back to your stitch marker. This will give it a gradual increase. Now this hat is a one size fits all for adults. Let's see, I did 1, yep, 2, and then 1, 2 and 1. And this is actually the first time I'm working this pattern. So we're learning this one together. Two here and 1. And then we've got 2. And 1 right in where your stitch marker is. That'll be the last one for this one. And then you're going to move that stitch marker to where your needle is. And now we are ready for row 4. So round, not row, round 4. Let's see if I can get my thread straight. Is going to be 1 single in each of the next 2. So you're going to go, the next one is 1, and then 2, 2 single crochets in the next single crochet. So you're going to go 1, 2, and then you're going to have 2 in the same stitch, okay? So you're going to have 1 here, and 1 in the next stitch, and 2 in the next stitch. So there we go. Let me show you the 4. This is where we are, the 4th round. 1 single in each of the next, let's see, 1 single in each of the next 2 single crochets, and 2 singles in the next single. So you do 1 for 2 stitches, and then you do 2 for the next stitch. Repeat around for 28 single crochets. Now you can stop and count that if you want. I'm not going to right here, because if you're following exactly what it says, it should work out. Okay, so we're going to do 1 here, 1 here, and then 2. Now, it has taken me quite some time to learn how to follow a pattern. I always struggled with that. So that is kind of why I'm wanting to use these patterns and show you how to read them. Because some people do have problems with patterns. I have until recently. I've really worked at it. So if you have trouble with patterns, just try. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you've got 1, 2, and then 2 in this one. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Okay. Now we've got 1 single, 1 single, and 2 singles. In 1 stitch. 1 single, 1 single, and 2 singles in 1 stitch. And looks like we have room for 1 more of that. So 1 single, and 1 single, and 2 singles and 1 stitch. Now this is right where your stitch marker is, so you're going to move that, and you are ready for round 5. So round 5, let me go over this right here. And round 5, 5th round, is 2 singles in the next single, and 1 single in each of the next 3. So you're going to do 2 singles in 1 stitch, and then you're going to do 1 single in the next 3 singles. Repeat from the asterisk, so you go back and you do that over and over all the way until you get back to your stitch marker. So I'm not going to record this whole row, but I'll start you off, and then you can pause the video until you get that row done. Okay, so we're going to do 2 singles in this one. It's a little hard with that stitch marker in there at the beginning. Okay, so make sure you get your stitch marker and you get your thread pulled like it needs to be, so it's not a big loop there. 2 singles in the first, and then let's see, make sure that's the right stitch. Yes, right here. You've got 1, you've got 2, and you've got 3. Okay, so 2 in the first one, and then 1, 1, and 1. Now I'm going to pause the video, or you can pause right here. I'm going to finish this row until we get back to the stitch marker. Okay, here I am at the end of row 5, and there's not room to do the 2 and then 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to do 2 in this one, because we're going to continue that same pattern. But then I'm just going to do 1 here instead of 3 singles, because that is where that last one is. Okay. Now we're going to start row 6 by taking this out and putting it in where our needle is. And if you have thread, just take the time to do the thread. It's worth taking the time to do the thread as a stitch needle, stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker, just definitely use the thread. I'm going to loosen some of this off so I don't have to fight it so much. Most of my hat at the top is going to be this tan color, it looks like. Okay, now we're going to start row 6. And that is 1 single in each of the next 2 stitches, 2 singles in the next single, 1 single in the next of 2. Repeat from the asterisk. So you're going to do 2 singles in one, 1 single in each of 2, 2 singles in the next, and then 1, 1. So it's going to repeat that. So you're going to go 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So that one's a little more tricky, but it's not too tricky, okay? It's really not. We just have to repeat the 1, 1. So you're actually going to go 1, 1. Then you're going to have 2 in this one. And then you're going to have 1 and 1. But you're going to repeat that. So you're actually going to have 4 singles together right there. So you got your 1, 1 and your 2 in this one. If I can get that out. 2 in that one. And then you're going to go 1, 1. Then you're back on repeat. So you do 1, 1 again. You're just repeating the same pattern. And this one you got 2. And then you've got 1, 1. Okay? I hope y'all understand that. If you have trouble with patterns, I really hope that simplifies it. So you've got 1, 1, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 1. You're going to repeat that. So you've got 4 singles right there. And then you've got 1, 2, and you finish out your pattern with 1 and 2. Now we're going to keep going and do 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, and 1. Just going to keep going that way. 1, 2, 1, 1. And once again, you see how it doesn't, you can't finish out that entire pattern before your stitch marker, so we're just going to do the first part of that pattern, which is 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay? That is round 6. Now we're going to move the stitch marker and start on row 7. Round 7. I keep saying it wrong. So here we are, ready for round 7. Now I want to show you, this also gives you the grid. So if you are someone who can read this grid, then you can also do the hat just by reading the grid. I have a friend who knows how to read these grids really well, and she doesn't follow the written pattern. But I'm going to start with row 7, which is 2 singles in the next single and 1 single in each of the next 5. And then you repeat. So you do 2, and then you do 1 in 5. Okay? All the way around. So we're going to go with, just make sure your stitch marker doesn't make your yarn have a big gap. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Not going to be able to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Continue that all the way back around to your stitch marker and pause the video because I'm going to come back when we get to row 8. Okay, I've already moved my stitch marker. We're ready for round 8. And round 8 is 4 regular singles. See how it's really loose on that? You don't want it that loose. So you have 4, 1 single in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 in the next single crochet. 2 single crochets in the next single crochet. So you do 2, 1, 2. And then you repeat that back around. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Pause the video here and I'll meet you back around at the stitch marker. Alright, I've moved my stitch marker, and just remember again that when you come to the end of that row, of that pattern that you're doing, my stitch marker still was before the pattern was over. So just remember that that's okay. You're just going to continue the stitches and the pattern will balance it out, okay? So we are ready for round 9. And round 9 is 2 in the first single crochet. So you want 2 single crochets in this first single crochet. And then you are going to do 7, 1 single crochet in the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you're going to do 2 again. 1, 2. And then you're going to do 1 single in the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you go 1, 2, 2 and 1. Then you're going to do 1 in the next 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now what you're coming up with is the top of your hat that's a flat circle. This is very tight compared to the double crochet beanie that I usually make. So I'm loving how this is turning out. So we're going to start that pattern again on round 9. We're going to do 2 singles in 1 stitch. Well, my needle just went over. And 7 individual singles in these next 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you want to pause the video and I'll meet you back around at the stitch marker. Okay, here we are back at the stitch marker and we're ready for round 10. So you've got 1 single in each of the next 3 singles, 2 singles in the next single. So you've got 1 single in the next of 5. Repeat from asterisk around 70 count. So you want 1 single in the next 3, 2 singles in the next single, and then 1 single in each of the next 5. So we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, because that's 2 and 1, and then we're going to do 5 singles, 1 single in the next 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we're going to repeat that by starting with 1, 2, 3. You want 1 single in the next 3, and then you want 2 singles in this 1 stitch, and then you want to go 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to continue all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You want 2 and 1, and then you want 5 individual. 3, 4, 5. You want 5 stitches with 1 single in each. See, it's a little wonky, but it does flatten out as the top of your hat. So we're on round 10. 1 single in the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. 2 in this one. And then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And repeat that pattern 3, 2, 5 until we get back onto the stitch marker. I'm going to go ahead and stop. So pause the video and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, so I finished round 10 and I moved the stitch marker. We're ready for round 11. Okay, so if your hat is a little bit like this, don't worry too much about that. It will balance out when you get the full project done, okay? So in round 11, we need 2 singles in the next single, 1 single in the next 9, okay? So that's 2, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, that's 1 pattern there. And then we're going to do 2 and 1. So 2 singles in the next stitch. That's 1. And that is 2. Then you're going to do 9 stitches with only 1 single in it. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to repeat that all the way around to the stitch marker. 1, 2 together, 2 singles in the same stitch, and then 1 single in the next 9. And 9. I'm going to repeat that pattern. 2 singles in 1 stitch, and then 1 single in the next 9, all the way back around to the stitch marker. So pause your video here, and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, so we finished round 11, and this is almost the top of the hat completed. We've got 1 more round to do, round 12. And let me just zoom out a little bit. This is the full round here. It's a little bit wonky, but when you get it all done, it does level out, okay? So we're going to do round 12, which is a little bit more tricky. And it says 1 single in each of the next 6, 2 singles in the next single, 1 single in each of the next 4. And you repeat that around. And it also says you're going to have 84 single crochets. It says working in front loop only. Join with a slip stitch to the first single. That's when you end this row. And then you do not continue to move the marker, leave stitch marker in place. So we don't worry about working in front loop only. Join with slip stitch to the first stitch until we finish this row of these repeats from the asterisk and have 84 stitches around, okay? Because then when you stop here, it says working in front loops only when it starts the next round of the side, okay? So right now we're going to focus on 1 stitch in each of the next 6, 2 stitches in the next single, and then 1 single in each of the next 4. That's what we're going to start with. Okay, I hope I explained that well, but we are going to walk through it. So we're in the stitch marker. We need to just move it out because, no, not move it out. We need to put it here. Just stop. Okay, here we are, the beginning of round 12. We're going to take the stitch marker out and pop it in right here. Okay, so round 12. I hope I explained that well enough on the pattern. But if not, we're going to just go right through this round. 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 single crochets. So we go. Start here with 6. So 1, whoops, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then 2 single crochets in the next single crochet. So 1, 2, and then 1 single in each of the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you're going to do 6 more, starting that pattern over again. You're repeating it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, and 2. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 2 in the next one, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can pause the video, and I'm going to go all the way around to back to the stitch marker and finish row 12. Okay, here is the top of my hat. It looks so pretty. I'm loving this. And I'm going to go ahead and steam this. And now I do not have a steamer. So this is a dry Swiffer sheet. You can use a thin towel or something. And I'm not going to touch the yarn or the towel actually with the iron because it's acrylic and it would melt. So all I'm going to do is just get this an inch or two above it and just steam it. And then like press it down. Okay? I'm just gonna, and you don't want to do it without the towel above it, because when it moves a little bit and curls up, it would touch the iron. Let me see if I can get the different angle. Okay, this is the best side angle I can get right now, but I'm just gonna have it about that far above it. And you just want to move it all around to steam it really well. And then you just press down. Make sure you don't burn yourself. And that's probably not as good as an actual steamer, but you can see a little bit of the curl is taken out. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to hold that above. And see, this is even melting. Let's see if turning that over will help. That just shows you that Swiffer dry products are made out of a plastic as well. So we're just going to steam that really well. But you don't want to touch it with the iron. You want to press it down with your hand. It's doing a pretty good job of it. You have a little heat that you can feel, but you see how flat that is now? And you can pick it up and turn it over. It has a tiny bit of movement to it there, but it's not quite as wonky as it was earlier. So there you go. Now you can do a little bit like that maybe, but you just don't want to touch your yarn. See, it's not curling up now. You just want to make sure you don't curl it up and touch the iron. And you don't want to burn yourself with that steam either. There we go. Now we have a flat 12 rounds to work with. Now that is an unnecessary step, but I wanted to just show you how to do that before we start working on the side of the hat. Okay, here we are in the side of your hat. It says join rounds of side and brim with a slip stitch to the first stitch. And then round 1 is chain 1, working in the front loops only, 1 single in each stitch around. And then you join it with a slip stitch at the end of round 1. So let's begin that. Okay, so this is upside down. Let's get it back upright. Now what it wants you to do is join the rounds with a slip stitch. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to join it to here. And you're just going to pull it through and make a slip stitch. Now you have a full circle, and all you have to do is chain 1. And you do not need your stitch marker anymore, because you are going to go around and come to this first chain, and you're going to be able to see it. Now this first round we are going to work in the front stitch only. Okay, so you're not going to go through both stitches, both pieces of the stitch. Let's see, zoom that in. This is both. This is back loop only. This is front loop only. So this is a little different than what we've done before. We're going to work in the front loop only and do a single stitch, a single crochet all the way around. So you're going to work in the front loop only, and you're going to do a single crochet. Okay, front loop only, which is a little different than what I've ever done. front loop only. I think it's to help you make a turn, like from the top to the side, and make it come down smoothly. That makes sense to me, so I think that's why they do it. And I love how this variegated yarn has switched colors just gradually. So we're going to work in this front loop only, single crochet, whoops, front loop only. Now see, you can see where that level change is right here. You can see how it moved up. That's where you're going to meet and stop. Front loop only. And also, if you feel more comfortable with that slip with that stitch marker, you can go ahead and just stick it in that chain. Okay, we'll stick it in both of those there, because that is the first stitch that you did. We'll just stick it right there. Okay, you can see the level change, but sometimes it's easier to just look for this, especially if you're watching a movie or something else while you crochet. So we're going to go ahead and just leave that in there. And then we're going to do front loop only, single crochet all the way around. Okay, so just go real slow and make sure you get in that front loop only, so you'll have a smooth change from the top to the side. And if you want, just pause the video here. This is a long ways around, and I will meet you back when we get all the way around the first row. Okay, here we are with the first round coming up. You can see the lift on it. Let's see if I can pull that down. You can see that lift on that edge. When you look over, you have a little line right here all the way around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get right in here. You're going to go in right where your stitch marker is, and you're going to slip this together just with the slip stitch. Okay, now I'm going to continue to use the stitch marker for these, so we're going to stitch it right in here and where your needle is. And what you're going to do for round 2 of the side of your hat is you're going to chain 1, and you're going to start working in both loops, single crochet. I have a little knot of thread back there. Single crochet all the way around through both loops this time. Okay, single crochet all the way around. Move this a little bit. Okay. And there we are. Single crochet in both loops for all the rest of this round. And my thread is acting up. There we go. Okay, well, if you'll pause the video, I'll meet you back around at the stitch marker once again, and we're going to have our first row, or second row, complete on this hat. This is turning out so pretty. Okay, here we are back around, and we are going to slip stitch this together right there where that is, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go ahead and move this up. Now I'm going to come back after we've done this over and over, And this is 3 inches from this little thing. So 3 inches is about right there, your longest finger. Somewhere in there, you want this hat to reach from, about here to here. Okay? So when you finish the side of the hat, you'll have about 3 inches right there. I know this is a weird view on the camera, but I'm just going to crochet both loops around all the way until I have a hat that comes down right to my ear. Okay? And I'll come back when that is done. So pause the video now and single crochet in both loops. Okay, so here we are with our hat, and this is pretty much what it looks like. Actually, I had this way too big earlier, so I took it out and redid the top of this hat. And there we are with the redo, but it's the same pattern. I just apparently made some mistakes, and the second time around I did count each row as I went. So I will put that in text over the video when I go back to edit, because it did help to count these rows, especially at the beginning, and keep yourself in check as you go. So here we go with the brim. The first thing we've got to do is you chain 1 and work in the front loops only again. Okay, right, I don't know if you can see, it's right here. And then we're going to do 2 singles in the next single, 1 single in each of the next 11. So you're only increasing a tiny bit on this first round. So let's get started on that. And we are going to use the stitch marker. It's this direction, because I've already turned it so it's easier to work with. So we're going to put the stitch marker right up here so we know where we're going. And I did leave it kind of down. I have a little line here. You can barely see it. It goes at an angle, sort of, for some reason. Not exactly sure why. But this is going to be the brim, and it's going to have a gradual increase. So we're going to chain 1, and then working in the front loops only. So we want to work in just that front loop again. We are going to do 2 singles in this first one, because that's your increase, and then you're going to do 11. So we're going to count 11, 2, 3, hope you can see this, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, then we are going to repeat that all the way around. So we're going to do 2 in the next one, and then we're going to do 11 more, 1 in each stitch in the next 11 stitches. So I'm going to come back to you when I come back around to the stitch marker. So pause your video and finish this row. Okay, here we are back at the stitch marker, and I've already moved it up. In this row we are going to do a single crochet in both loops and just do 1 stitch all the way around with no increases. So I've already done my chain 1, and we're just going to go all the way around with single crochet. So you may pause the video now. I'm going to stop this, and I will get back to you when I come back to the stitch marker. Okay, so we're back around, and I'm going to move the stitch marker, and then we are going to do the third round of the brim is chain 1, 2 singles in the next single and 1 single in the next 12. So that's going to be the next row. So you chain 1, well, chain 1, and then you do 2 singles here, and then 12 singles, and then you just repeat that pattern all the way. Okay, so it's not cooperating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and you want another increase, so you do 1 and 2, and you do 12 and 2 all the way back around. So I'm going to let you pause this video. I'll be back when I get to the stitch marker. Okay, this is round 5, and we're going to chain 1 and do a single crochet all the way around. So you go in both loops and single crochet all the way around, and I will meet you back here again when we get back to the stitch marker. Alright, here we are, ready for row number 5, and you can already see a little bit of a brim here kind of forming and coming out. It looks really cool. So we are ready for row number 5. I hope that your hat is just as cute, and I thank you for following along and doing this video with me, doing this project with me. I've already done my chain 1, and so this row we are going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then do 13. We'll do that all the way around. I'm not going to have you watch me do all of that row. I'm going to do 2 and then 13 on this row. And if you would like, you can tag me in a picture on Instagram or just send it to me so I can see your project. That would just be really cool if you're making this bucket hat. So I'm going to come back to you when I get back around to the stitch marker. We're doing 2 and 13 on this round. Okay, what we've got here is something going on. I just did the 5th row. There is no 6th row, 8th row, 10th row. Those are all missing. So we're going to go ahead with the 7th row here. Act like this is the 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th, and 10th. So we're just going to do 2 singles in the next single crochet. You can get that up here really close. 2 singles in the next single crochet, and then you go into 14. The next row is 2 singles in the next, and then you go 15. 2 singles in the next, and then you go 16. I'm going to go ahead and do all 3 of those rows, and then I will come back and we will be almost done with this hat. So great job so far. I'll be right back. Okay, we are done with increases, and it's a good thing because this is what I have left of this ball of yarn. So we are getting to the end. It is almost time to finish. So right here we are going to, and as you can see, have not moved up my stitch marker in a few rows. I'm going to chain 1, and this row is the 12th row, and we are supposed to do 1 single crochet in the back loop only, all the way with no increases. So let's do this row, and that doesn't work. Let's do this row back loop only. So you have this little ridge right here, and I will come back to you as soon as this row is complete, back over to this little area here where I started. Okay, we are back around. We have done our chain 1, and the next row and the very last row is slip stitch in the back loop only, all the way around. So you're just giving it this finishing touch for the very end of it. I think it's super cute. You're going in the back loop only, and you're just pulling through both. You're not even doing a full single crochet, just a slip stitch. And it gives it this little rim looking area. It's really cool, and this is turning out so, whoops, talking. This is turning out really good. I can't wait to show you what it looks like, and I can't wait for you to try this and to try your hat on. Tag me in your pictures if you'd like on Instagram. And Sarah Garrett 515, I think. And yeah, if you would like to be on a newsletter, you would like to get a newsletter, I'm starting a newsletter soon. And just write newsletter in the comments. I'm working on that process right now. I'm really excited about it. I'm redoing my website right now. And so all of that is in progress. It is a process, so it's taking a little bit of time. But I'm really excited about the changes for this year and the new things we'll be doing. And I'm excited to have you with me and to get to know y'all this year. I am hopefully going to start doing some live videos this year. And if you think you would stay on for a live, pop live in the comments. That would be really cool. I may do a live soon if I have enough comments that want me to go live. I have several projects in planning process, so I can have them ready for a video soon. And winter is in full swing. It's not cold here though, really. Not too cold. So where are y'all located? Where are you watching from? That would be very interesting to see in the comments as well. I can see the location of the countries on the analytics, but I cannot see, like, from what state are you in, or, you know, that kind of thing. That would be interesting to see. So anyway, I have a little ways left. And maybe you're crocheting along with me. And maybe not. Maybe you're saving this for later. I do that often too, is watch a video and just save it for when I'm ready to crochet. I like to watch YouTube when I'm cooking or doing other things as well. This is almost done. Oh, and I always forget, hit the like and subscribe. If you like this video, I think about 90% of my watchers are not subscribers. And that would be really cool if you would subscribe. If you like my content, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe, because that will really help my channel out. And it doesn't cost you anything. And if you have a channel, let me know about it in the comments as well. And here we are at the very end, y'all. It is time to clip that off and pull it through. We are done with this little guy. And we need a needle. I'm going to sew this in. I have already sewn in the center one. So here we go. We're just going to go right up the seam just a little bit, and then we're going to go over. Keep it locked in these threads. You can see that. Just keep it right in there in those threads, and you'll have a secure stitch. We're going to go down a little bit, go into some more of these stitches, back the other direction. Alrighty, I am ready for the reveal and the try on. Ready to see this thing done.